Hello and welcome to the Debrief, where we take a little bit more of an in-depth look at Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0. Joined by Hannah and Ryan making their debuts on the Debrief, so welcome. We'll get your thoughts first then, Hannah, of the game against Bournemouth. How you feeling? Happy?
I think I like to call it that we're buzzing FC today. Um, yeah, super happy. It was one of those games where you walk away from Villa Park and you're not just satisfied with the 3 points. You feel on top of the world that you've just watched some really good football. I think, we spoke in the preview earlier in the week about we shouldn't underestimate a team like Bournemouth, but I was feeling pretty confident going into the game. I'd said that I'd quite fancy us to get a really comfortable performance under our belts. We haven't had one of those at home in a little while. We've had a few games where it's been a little bit cagey or there's been errors and stuff. So to have a really confident, assured performance at home, 3 goals, a clean sheet, and it felt like, by the end of it, the fans had really united behind the team, behind the cause of, all godly Unai Emery. So it was a really good afternoon. And, going into a break now, I think it's always super important that you have a positive atmosphere around the club and the training ground to set us up. So I am one happy girl this weekend.
Good stuff, and we will touch on the atmosphere now as well. And I've got to be honest, from where I sat, there was no moans, no groans whatsoever from K6. It was just everybody was on board with it. I mean, there was so many times where everybody was just clapping how we were playing. It was brilliant. So on my side of things, where I sit, everybody was fully on board and absolutely loving it. So I think fair play to everybody, and I think everybody now can start to see what we're all about, the way we're playing, what to expect when you turn up. Because, if we play like that every week and we're controlling football matches, and yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that it's only Bournemouth, but you can't look at it like that, because any team is capable of beating anybody, and having a consistent run of form is what we haven't had for many years. And albeit that 3 game losing streak, we are starting to put little patterns of some consistency together now. So we're on a win, a draw, and a win now, aren't we? So that there are these little patterns. So if we can sort of stretch these out now to sort of 5, 6, 7 game spells, you're gonna start to climb the table a lot quicker. So I just think it's really pleasing, and me and Justin were, talking about it on the match reaction yesterday of what Emery's brought to us in such a short space of time. And I just want to echo again that the job he's done, and the job that he's doing, because it's absolutely tremendous. So Ryan, I walked back to you to the car and you were like a wet dog, mate. So did you dry up all right last night?
Yeah, dried up eventually. Managed to nip to Tesco's, get my mother a last minute Mother's Day card, and it was full of Villa fans in there. It's full of Villa fans in Tesco's by the Beggar's Bush, and everyone just had a big, fat, wet smile on their face. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed yesterday. We had a chilled one, didn't we, mate? Went and had a beer in the social, a couple of beers in the ground, and it was like there was no pre-match nerves. It was like, yeah, man, we're rocking up. We know the boys are going to put a shift in. They're going to do a job. It's all going to be mapped out for them by the maestro that is Unai Emery. And yeah, it was just a thoroughly enjoyable game. And just to echo your thoughts on the atmosphere as well, no issues in K7, and it was really refreshing and quite pleasing to see everybody just getting behind the team. There were spells where we'd have good play, good possession, and it just broke down at the last minute, but everyone just applauded it, and I was like, yeah, man. Everyone's just getting on board. And from day one, when Emery's come in, he's been dropping all these messages in every interview, in every pre-match conference about the supporters being on board, and we've got to get you on board, and you've got a role to play, and even his comments yesterday about the owners being there, and he was like, the owners are there every week. It's the fans, it's the supporters. So he has proper got us on board. And back to the messages that he drops, it's like he's been pretty much since he's come in, hasn't he, saying he wants that home performance. And yes, we beat Man United 3-1, but that weren't the Emery performance, was it? We just got a result that day. We blasted them. Was full of adrenaline, full of hype because it was a new manager bounce. But yesterday was the performance that he's been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And in his head, he's got this whole mapped out plan, and he drops little hints and he drops touches in every conference and every interview, and you're starting to see it come to fruition, aren't you?
Yeah, cool. Right, so we'll have a look at the details of the game in a little bit more detail, and what you will see, the statistical side of things, how the game panned out. So let's have a little look then at how the game went then. So we had an expected goals of 3.66. They had 1.36. We had 56% of the possession, which for us at the minute is quite low, to be fair. We had 20 shots, 9 on target, 8 block shots, 9 corners, and I think we've learnt a bit of a lesson from Arsenal with these corners. The fact that we're going a little bit shorter, aren't we, Ryan?
Yes, we are, mate. Yeah, and the last few at the end of the game really caused problems, didn't they? Really, Konza put the ball in the back of the net as well off this short corner. Obviously, the Mings flick on for Buendia as well for the goal. So yeah, mixing it up, because to be fair, we haven't got a lot of height, have we? We haven't really got that attacking presence to score from a corner. So it is good to mix it up.
Yeah, and Ming should have buried that one, shouldn't he? It'd have been nice for him to just get a goal, wouldn't it? So
yeah, he only got a 9.5 rating on my player ratings yesterday because of that miss. He would have got a 10 if it weren't for that shocking finishing.
So we had 5 big chances, 2 big chances missed, 1 counter attack. We had 447 passes, they had 350, 85% passing accuracy, which is tremendous. 66% dribbles. We lost the ball 115 times. We won 55 of our duels, and we won 7 aerial duels. This is the match dominance on expected threat. So Aston Villa was up to 4.56, Bournemouth was 2.81. Shots with XG by the minute, Villa are in the blue, Bournemouth are in the red. And as you can see on this graphic as well, it was still dominant from Aston Villa. The shot map, Villa are in the blue, we had 3.19 XG shot map. They had 0.81, so you can see that we're peppering the goal from all angles. Aston Villa's danger creation is in the darker blue from all areas as well. So this highlights where we are attacking from. We predominantly attack down the left-hand side. And then this is Bournemouth's average position. So as you can see their shape, they've got majority of their players in their own half, past the halfway line. And Aston Villa's, I know the numbers are upside down, but it's easier for me to show you this way. This is Aston Villa's average position, and one little takeaway that I'll take away from this one is look where Dougie Luiz was in this game. A little bit more advanced. Hannah, what was your thoughts on Luiz?
I thought he had an excellent game, and it's quite interesting actually, because with Kamara out, you kind of expected it to be the other way, that he'd be sitting a bit deeper, and that McGinn would be the slightly more advanced of the two. But no, he really excelled yesterday. I thought he was driving play forward. I thought he was great on the ball. I don't really think he put a foot wrong. Before this season, he's got the odd goal and assist, but he's really finding his feet now in terms of goal contributions. And yesterday was the best of that. But yet he still did everything he needed to in front of the defence. I think it was, for me, such a well-rounded midfielder performance, because he was everywhere. And I think that shows with the fact that he did get goal contributions, but also he kept the clean sheet.
Yeah, spot on. He had a brilliant game, to be fair. Really, really good. And then this is Bournemouth passing network, and to be fair, it's probably the best it's looked in weeks, to be fair. That passing network's 10 times better than what it's looked like the last 2 times I've seen a passing network. And then this is Villa's, and for me, I think this is a really good one, because we're now starting to see on this one more width, more depth, and more body to it. It's not as intricate in the middle, but I think it's got like a depth to it. Ryan, talk me through what you're seeing.
Yeah, well, if we start from the back, that dark line indicates, the darker the line indicates the expected threat. So it's where these good moves start from. So the balls to Konza, to Mings, into Louisa. Look at that. He's just the linchpin, isn't he? He's tying everything in together. He's networking with pretty much the whole squad there, isn't he? Bar Cash and Bailey. And then what I was noticed, other than the last couple of weeks, is like McGinn, Buendia, Ramsey, their circle is a bit darker. So the expected threat of their balls and the damage they're causing and feeding the ball to Watkins is higher now. So sort of like we have been growing, haven't we, over the last few weeks, is where it started out from the back and then we're pushing up a bit more. Now we're starting to see more intricate play up top. We're starting to see movements. We're starting to see them triangles. We've got good width there as well. But like Mings, his ball play at the minute, the last few games, is the best I've seen at this football club since he's been here. His confidence is high. I've mentioned in the preview that the guys that are playing out from the back, from Martinez to Mings, Konza, Louise, they've got a bit of swagger about them now, a bit of feeling a bit of clout for, because they're getting results. So it's it's good to see these networks now.
And I think the one thing it's nice to do on a debrief is sort of look kind of at the bigger picture, because when you do a match reaction, when you do a fan cam, it's pure emotion, isn't it? You're bringing out the emotion of what you've just watched. But when you're doing more of an in-depth look at how we're playing and how certain players are performing as well, I go back to when I was watching us against Villarreal in that friendly at Villa Park in the freezing cold when I nearly got frostbite, and I really wanted to sit behind the dugout to see what Emery was all about. I wanted to know what he was doing, like, what's he saying, who's he dragging, who's he having a word with, who is he saying should be doing better. And in that game, there was one player who he was in the ear all game, and it was Douglas Luiz. It was Luiz, and he has come on tremendously. Do you know what I mean? Like, his performances are fantastic. And I think now we're starting to see, like, how many of these players over this journey that we've been on since we've been in the Premier League have had a bit of stick, all of them in there, every single one. McGinn, Mings, Konsa, Cash, and they're all now looking like better versions of what they've ever looked like. You mentioned Mings. He looks better than he's ever looked for Villa. Konsa that partnership looks so good. So I just think their partnerships are all looking good all over the pitch now. So Hannah, what have you made of like where we're at and the type of performances that the players are putting in?
I think it's becoming more and more obvious by the week that the players are understanding more what our style of play is meant to be, what Emery wants from them, and there's just a real synergy. Something I commented on at half time was that the players just looked confident. The players looked like they knew what they were doing, and it seems like a silly thing to say because you think, oh, the footballers, they know what they're doing. They train all week. They go out there to kick a ball around. But it just felt like there was a real chemistry in the team. And I think you only get that chemistry when you've got faith in what you're doing, faith in in the style of play, and they're all buying into it, then you really get the nice interlinking going on. So that seems to be growing week by week, even when we've had some poorer performances or losses. It still remained very clear what the tactic was, what the style of play was, what the manager wanted. And we sit in the stands every week knowing that every decision being made is being made by a manager and knows what they're doing and has tactics front of mind. I trust everything that that man does, which is ridiculous. But every week he shows something via the 11 men on the pitch. He's showing us, right, I know what I'm doing. And I think the back four has been superb, genuinely superb. I think Moreno has been a brilliant addition because he's so good going forward. I think Matty Cash again yesterday was brilliant, and the Konza and Mings partnership is the best it's ever been, in my opinion, genuinely, because they're also getting so much better with the ball at their feet and playing out from the back. We do have, there's always the odd moment where there's a bit of a scare. There was one yesterday where you think, oh God, missed a bit of a panic there. But like I think Ryan mentioned, like Mings is passing, and the way he's playing out from the back is a lot better than it was. So the fact that we are week by week seeing improvement, it's got to be such a positive sign for the future, because before we've had good spells, like we always say, the C word, consistency. We have a good spell at Villa, and then we seem to completely fall off the wagon. But ever since he came in, even though we had a bit of a stinker against Leicester, we lost to Man City by a few, there's been a consistency of understanding what this manager's trying to do. It's never felt desperate. It's never felt like we're trying to smash and grab. There's just that calculated feeling behind each performance, which gives me confidence. Like even at 1-0 yesterday, we were at 1-0 till what, 80 minutes or something, 82 minutes. I was sitting back pretty comfortably, just feeling like we've got this. Yes, again, it's against a relegation fighting side, and it's not like that every week. You have games like the Crystal Palace one where you have to grind it out, but we're seeing that diverse approach to games, diverse ways of winning. We are becoming a package of players, of tactics. I'm speaking very passionately here because the manager is giving that to us. He's giving us that same passion back, and we're seeing it on the pitch. You can't tell me yesterday that those 11 players didn't look like they were really up for it, because they did. And what we always say as fans, you just want the manager to care, and above anything, those 11 players on match day to go out there and put up a fight and play like it's the last time they'll ever wear a Villa shirt. So for me, it's all positive signs for the future. Again, we're still on a journey. There's going to be ups and downs, but the thing that puts peace in my mind is that we've got a manager that will always have an answer to any problem. So that's going to be my sentiment going into the international break.
What are you saying, Ryan?
Yeah, love that, Hannah. Love that. Yeah, I'm in love with Emery, man. He's the man, isn't he? He's the man. But like you say with the players, we've got to give the players a lot of credit as well, because this Emery system is not an easy system, is it? Players have had to adjust. You start off at the back, you start off with Mings and Konza. They've had to adjust and learn to play with the ball at their feet, be calm, don't just take the easy route out, the long ball, hump it, the pressure's on, deal with it, find Louise, find Kamara, find the wide men. So them two have really come into it. Matty Cash now, right? It's not a right back position really, is it? It's a centre back, right back, hybrid position. Now there's a few of these hybrid positions all over the pitch, and Matty Cash's position is one of them. And yesterday, I seen what Emery wanted, and Matty Cash delivered it. It was perfect. That is exactly how he wants his right back to play. The left back, bombing forward, coming back when needed, perfect again. The middle two, Kamara, normally Kamara and Louise, the double pivot, them two have just complemented each other so well. so well. I think Louise's turning point. I wrote an article about this when he signed his contract. I think the turning point was him obviously turning Arsenal down, us rejecting it anyway, and him signing his new contract, because it's like the first time he's ever felt settled at Villa Park, I think, because he was at Villa. It was like a glorified 2-year loan deal, really, because Man City could have paid the release clause to bring him back, so he never really felt at home then. Once that sort of expired, he only had 12 months left on his contract, so he's playing with, oh, do they want me, do they not? Now, I feel like he's settled. He's one of our top players. He's part of the spine for me. He's part of this journey. He's been on it from since we got back in the Premier League, since game one, hasn't he? So I really do feel he's the main man. And in Kamara's absence, he's just stepped up and delivered. And like you say, Hannah, that performance yesterday, the way he was picking the ball up, his goal, for example, picking the ball up, driving forward, carrying on into the box and finishing it off. He got his just rewards, and the double pivots were perfect. And then you've got the two wide men that ain't really wide men, they're box midfielders. Again, we've got that hybrid position where they've got to move into the 8 and the 10 position. So them guys are learning. You're seeing the best out of McGinn now, aren't you? Ramsey picked up yesterday. He must have been listening to you, Hannah. He's put in a performance. McGinn then, not McGinn. Up top then, you've got Watkins, who's just full of confidence now. He's playing a huge role. And then you've got the Bailey position as well, which is like another hybrid position where it's the 9 and then you drop off onto the wing in the 7. So again, learning, everybody's learning these new roles, and it's took weeks and weeks and weeks to evolve. And I remember a goal in pre-season against Chelsea, and it was so well worked, and you could see then that was the shape he wanted to build with, and it's just all come together now. And now, do I think we will up the tempo a bit as well? Probably. People complain it's a bit slow, but I think everything's going to evolve, and I think there'll be times when we will slow it down and be controlled, but I think there'll be times when we'll still want to retain possession, but the ball will move a bit quicker, and I think, but all that will evolve, and we've just got to stay patient. And again, just to echo the crowds, we stayed patient yesterday, and we was on board with it all, and everything just felt like it. The whole package, like you say, Hannah, just come together yesterday, didn't it? And I loved it. I just loved that performance, man. And it's quite disturbing how Aston Villa's form affects my day-to-day mood. Because at the minute, I'm absolutely buzzing. And you would have asked me just before the World Cup when Gerrard was still in charge, rock bottom, fearing relegation. But now, happy as Larry, mate. Happy as Larry.
And now we've got a bit of a break now. So we've got England and, whatever, that week now ahead. So, after this little break now, it's sort of like the final stretch, isn't it? We've got quite a few games in April. And, we've got all them teams above us. So I think I want to look at it now and take it game by game. Let's just take it game by game and see where we are, because I think we're going to win more games than we lose going into this last bit. And I think we are potentially going to be, getting a really good points return. So, it's going to be exciting. And, I think Emery's just done a fantastic job, and I don't know. I mean, going back to this Bournemouth channel, has anyone seen the dude at the end of the game, and he's like, we should be coming here and beating teams like this, and I'm just like, mate, you don't.
You're out the sound, mate.
You can't say that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. So I think teams will now, eventually start taking note at how well we're playing, really, because we are doing really well. So so I think again from the debrief, you've seen that the images, the stats, the passing networks, the complete control that we put into that performance against Bournemouth, and it's only going to get better, isn't it? And I think when you mention, Ryan, about it speeding up a little bit, I do think when we do add certain players into the side as well, that will help, because I think at sometimes we need a bit more pace, and I think if we've got a specific player that is more pacey and more zipping around a bit, you'll add that area to our game as well. So I think the players that come into the side are going to improve and we're going to get better, aren't we? So it's just really good to see us playing well. So we'll end on some positive news as well. The Villa women through to the next round, 2-1 winners against Man City. They're having an absolute fantastic season. They're doing so well. So I know you watch quite a bit of it, Ryan and Hannah. So I do watch it, but I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys on it. So what are both your thoughts on how they've been playing?
I can go first if you want.
Fine, right?
That's all right. Yeah, again, I'm probably not as knowledgeable as I should be, and as I'd like to be, but I think this season has just been. Well, we came up into the WSL, and it was slightly, trying to fight relegation, and then we had a season of consolidation, and now it's right. Let's establish ourselves as one of the best women's sides in the country, and that's exactly what Carla Ward has done. I think she's done a brilliant job. I think she might have even hit 50. I think this might have been her 50th game in charge today. So they've done brilliantly, but I think this season you can probably put it down to a handful of really good signings, and the one is obviously Rachel Daly, who has won the game for the Villa women today. So I think it's really smart recruitment, and I think it shows an appetite for the club to continue investing in the women's side. I think they play a nice style of football. I think there's a very nice feel around the side. They're really trying to build it, a core fan base as well. I think in general it's the same thing of a positive mood around the club, and the women's side is a massive part of that. I mean, getting now to the late stages of a cup, when they were looking at getting relegated from the WSL a couple of years ago, you would never have thought that we could polish off teams like Man City. And I think we're in that pack now. I mean, the top 4 or 5 in the WSL are just that little bit ahead because they've had slightly longer to improve.
They've been the mainstay, haven't they?
Yeah,
Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United have, they're up and coming as well, I think. And I think to close that gap as quickly as what Villa have done, I think it's tremendous, to be fair. And they've now become an appealing proposition to come and play for. And I think that's the big barrier which they've closed down on as well now. So you're now starting to see England internationals wanting to come and play for Villa. And then what that's going to do, it's going to get you closer to that pack of the ones that win everything every single year. So, yeah, I think they've done brilliantly, to be fair.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've captured the imagination of the fan base this season, haven't they? A bit like what the Lionesses did, winning the Euros. So it's good to see. It's building. I've been down to one of the games at Villa Park, and I took my kids down there. They're only like 6 and 4, but you've got like the family area, the fun zone before the game. Like Peppa Pig and the Gruffalo are all down there. There's face painting going on. My kids loved it. Like there's all football activity, penalty shootouts, loads of games and stuff to do. All the music's pumping. It real good family vibe, real good atmosphere, and obviously the game as well. And they're playing so well. The recruitment has just been sublime. It's been incredible, and you see the talent of Rachel Daly at Villa doing bits. It's so good to see, and I've sort of followed it because we cover it on the website. Georgia, she writes amazing reports on it. She's so passionate. Her insight and her love for the women's game is second to none. So I love publishing her work. It's great. It's so, and I'm so pleased for fans like that. I've been there from the beginning, and I've stuck it out in all them dark days in the lower reaches, and then getting promoted to the WLS and staying in there, and it's so good for them. And there is a good core. You see a good core of fans on Twitter that are there week in, week out. they all seem to like know the players as well. The players have got good relationships with the fans. You see a lot of pictures after the game. They always come over. They've always got time for the fans. So yeah, real good vibe around the women's game at the minute.
We're on the up.
We are the club. It's good for the whole club, though, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah.
The men's team doing well. The women's team doing well. It's just a good outlook for the whole of Aston Villa Football Club.
Yeah, and you know, you just want that. You want that vibe, don't you? You know, like every area of the club, you want to turn and be like, that area's doing well.
Well, the under-18s have made the cup final as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
The Premier League cup final. So every part of Bodymore, he's buzzing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's buzzing. So you see every section. You probably want to try and outdo him. You know, they're getting all the limelight. We've got to raise our game, man. You know, so it's we're in a good place, man. And obviously with all the images of the ground as well to back that up. You know, the future. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. I'm here for it, mate, as always.
Yeah, it's looking great. So that's us for today then. So we'll be back in the week. We've got loads of content coming this week as well. So thanks everyone for watching, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.